Hey, what's up?
All your favorite artists.
Check it out.
Say my name.
DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sci-Fi Center. It's your Vegas home for science fiction, horror, and fantasy. From comic books, toys, and posters to movie screenings and live events, they've got you covered. Located at 900 Caron Avenue, Suite B209, give them a call, 702-900-4335, or reach them at thescificenter.com.
Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Big Shook, host of the Undrafted All-Star Sports Show. Man, listen, if you want some real down south, Louisiana-style Cajun food, you need to go check out DB's Cajun Kitchen. Yo, they got lobster and grits, seafood boils, signature fries, signature po' boys, signature egg rolls, and desserts. Oh, and my favorite, them gumbo tacos. Yo, they open from 11 to 8, Wednesday to Monday, 7 to 5:30 on Sunday. Located in North Las Vegas at 4343 North Rancho Drive. They even have to-go orders and catering. Hit them up, 725-780-1850, or go to the website, dbcajunkitchen.com. So, yo, don't just tell your friends about me. Tell them about DB's Cajun Kitchen.
It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood. And are you looking for the perfect drink? Well, you found it. Mimosa Royale is the perfect combination of California sparkling white wine and natural juice that is both tasty and refreshing. No artificial colors or flavors, no sugar added, and it's gluten-free. As the world's first ready-to-drink mimosa, Mimosa Royale is perfect for any occasion, day or night. You no longer have to drink 12 of those seltzers just to get that perfect buzz. At 8% alcohol, Mimosa Royale is the perfect drink to party with. Offered in a variety of flavors and sizes, you are bound to find a Mimosa Royale that you'll love. We have berry, mango, apple, and orange, with more flavors to come. Mimosa Royale is the most award-winning flavored wine that serves in bottles or cans. You can find them online at drinkmimosa.com or find them at your local liquor store. Ask for it by name. Mimosa Royale. Boom, 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 boom. Y'all know Mimosa Royale is. That's one of my favorite commercials on hot7025fm.com. I don't know why. Maybe it's the person that does the commercial, the voice that you hear on that Mimosa Royale commercial. It just make me want one. It make me thirsty. We got them in cans or bottles. And Mimosa Royale is one of the sponsors of this here. What up, Shy Kyler? What's happening with you, baby? You already know what it is, man. It's TSU homecoming week. Get geek. What up, Dakarai? You out there, too. What's happening, Dakari Kofi? You know what I mean? What's going on, Nicola DeLeon Chego? What's happening with you? What's going on, City Ballers D? What's going on with you, baby? Good to see you in the building too, man. Yeah, man, I got a bunch of. What's up, baby? You already know. Last week, Rob, you know I had on, Dak, Chicago said, what up, Dak? He told me to tell you what up. He over here on the Instagram, Dak on the Facebook page. But yeah, man, so you already know, in honor of it being Tennessee State homecoming week right now, get geek this homecoming week, where we don't go to class and we don't go to sleep. We stay up 24/7 the whole damn week. Get geek. That's what it is. But I'm not attending this year. To homecoming because I'm going to represent and stand in formation with the rest of my fighting Tigers as we take on Howard University and the Bisons next week in they homecoming. So we're going to try to be the homecoming haunting committee as we going to break that thing down for them all the way up there in Chocolate City in D.C., baby. So you already know what it is, man, when it's homecoming week, man. Things get a little bit strange out there in them streets. So y'all be careful down there in the Ville. All my people down there in 615. Oh, y'all say what's up? What up, Walter Scott? What's going on with your cousin? Morelli on the spot out here, baby. Old Scotty Yachty out there. What's happening with you? Another one from Chicago. Scott, I got all Chicagoans on there, man. I got Shy Kyler, I got Dakari Kofi, and I got Walter Scott Mays. Everybody out there, Chicago representing. You know what I'm talking about? Who that? What's going on? My daughter in the building. What's up, Sweet Pea? What Bud doing? Tell him get on the screen. Tell him look at his 2 paw on the screen. That's what's up. I'm glad to see everybody in the building today. So, we always do, we do it this time each and every, or exactly, Chicago is the city. It is. It's the city, baby. That's what we used to say. Coming from Danville, I ain't going to sit here in front like I'm from the Chi. I am an Illinois boy by birth. But coming from Danville, we used to say going to the city. That was like the thing. You know what I mean? It's like 2.5 hours away from where I'm from. I'm closer to Indianapolis than I am to Chicago, based off geography. But anyway, what we do each and every Wednesday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. my time out here on the west side of things. So according to where you at, that's how things going to go down where you are with your time. It's the number one online or in person, what we call an advice column, or an advice podcast, or whatever you like to call it, whatever phraseology and euphemism you want to attach to it. It is where you can come get your words heard, and we can break these things down like rocks on the side of the road. So, again, I like to give my disclosure. I always let people know I've never been trained in any way, shape, form, or fashion in any type of counseling, any type of psychology or psychiatry. But what I have done is lived a colorful life, a life filled with a lot of action, a lot of people, things, and a lot of places. And I've been able to vicariously live through others close enough to sponge up some of their game so I can squeeze out some of these game back out to y'all, as well as my other cohorts and comrades and colleagues out there online. So like we always do, we're going to dive straight into today's letter. We got a good one today too, y'all. We got somebody today that's talking real life and real situations like we do around here on Holla at the Homie. We talk real. So we're going to get straight into the letter, and it goes here. Dear Holla at the Homie, I've been married almost 4 years, and things were going great until my dad passed away 2 years ago. Since then, I've been struggling with grief in a way I never expected. I'm not the same person I was before, and it's definitely affected my marriage, especially in the intimacy department. Before all this, my wife and I had a close, loving relationship, both emotionally and physically. But ever since I lost my dad, I felt disconnected and kind of lost in my head. It's not that I don't love or find her attractive. It's just that I'm weighed down by this grief, and I don't know how to be fully present. My wife has been patient and understanding, but I can tell it's taking a toll on her too. She expressed that she misses the connection we used to have, and while I want to fix things, I'm having a hard time knowing where to start. I feel guilty because I know she deserves more, and more than I've been able to give. I'm stuck between grieving my father and not wanting to lose the bond that I have with my wife. I want to get back to that place where we're both happy, connected, and intimate, but my emotions keep getting in the way. What can I do to balance my grief while I also show up for my wife the way that she needs me to? How do I find my way back to the person I was and to the marriage that we used to have? Sincerely, stuck between grief and love. Ooh! What's up, Nora Karma? I appreciate you checking out there. We having a little difficulty on the screen over here. We're going to work that thing out. It popped back. You do something. That's what I love. See, my engineers be working, always working. You know what I'm saying? But welcome back. What I know, what's up, JJ? Hey, did you get that? You get that text I sent you, man? I sent that song to you, dog. Let me know what you think about that, man. I know it's raw and uncut and ain't mixed, but let me know what you think about it, because you one of my spiritual brothers, and I like to see your feelings and thoughts on that one. But yeah, Rob, yeah, cool, Kyla. I'm just letting you know, man. This is a tough one right here. This one right here. This one choked me up when I read this letter, because we all grieve at one time or another for different people, at different levels and things of that nature. So the thing I had to look at this, I had to dissect this from every perspective. If you say you literally felt like you lost your soul when your grandma died, and that's what I'm saying, like, it's people connected to different people. And what you say, Dakari Kofi, counseling. That's one of the things in here. I always, I'm a big advocate for therapy. I'm a big advocate for therapy, and not in no like throwing shade type of way, because we all need somebody to talk to sometimes that gives a perspective that's non-objective. That's what I like to be able to feel like I'm giving on here, as well as my my online colleagues out here. We coming from a non-objective perspective is what I'm considering and thinking. I like to feel that way. And counseling, yes, we gonna dive into that too, Dakari. Like this one comes from a husband who's been married for only 4 years. I'm fortunate enough to have 6 underneath my belt, but my wife lost her mom early in our marriage. So that's why this one choked me up when I got this letter, because this gentleman, he was halfway into where he's at now, right? The halfway point. And since the middle point, everything kind of exploded in his world. especially dealing with the intimacy. So he's feeling disconnected from his wife, right? And he's even stated that she's been patient. What'd you say, Shy Kyler? Seek God, 1, 2, counseling, and share your feelings, 3. That's what's up. What's up, Cali Babe in this building? Damon Williams, what's happening, bro? Good to see all y'all. What's happening with you? Dame, you trying to get on here? Send me a thumbs up if you trying to get on here and see how to talk about this here intimacy thing, dealing with grief, because I know you got a perspective on that too, bro. Let me know if you're trying to get on. I didn't know if you just popped on here or you was trying to get on here and talk to me, because I can get plugged into the matrix and everybody can hear us. But he said he's feeling disconnected from her. He said that she's being patient with him through his grief. So it's not like she's trying to push him into what's up, man? You tripping? We need to do something about this. None of that has been identified in the letter. Because there's sometimes people out there do that. Some people out there are victim of that. People not understanding the process, what grief is. Because grief ain't a thing that you just get through or you just get over. That's the first thing people got to understand, because just because you haven't lost a person of that magnitude, and like a lot of people like to say, I pray that you never do, or that you don't ever have to feel that anytime somebody loses somebody, of that magnitude. Grief is not something that you can just, snap my fingers. Okay, it's been 6 months. I'm good now. No, it has waves, and for her to be patient, that's a statement for you. What's going on? I am Courtney. That's a statement from the wife, saying that she's being patient, that he's saying that she's being patient with him as he grieves the loss of his father. So he said that they were 2 years in and he lost his dad out of nowhere, and so now he's trying to figure out, he's feeling disconnected, even though she's being patient, and now he's stuck between grief and trying to reconnect with her. Would you say, Shy Kyler, you need support? Let people know you need support and don't self-medicate. Listen, people with this self-medication, I was a practitioner of that, in a lot of situations throughout life. And until I found counseling, until I found, therapy, until I found the fact that I can be myself in a session with somebody who they don't know me from a can of paint. So it's nothing to be, subjective about. They're completely objective. Like you're right, you do need support. And the people who are around you, the ones who you lean on, you need to lean on them, let them know that you're not feeling good. You're not feeling it right now. Maybe her patience, I believe her being patient could be him already letting either her know, or he's showing that he's, he not feeling all the way himself. When somebody loses somebody of that magnitude, you got to watch how they move, and they, listen to the underlying words of what they're saying at times. Would you say, Cali Babe, 143, everyone deals with death? Oh, absolutely. Everybody processes it differently. Everybody accepts it differently. One of the stages of grief is denial. You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't get through that stage that quick. Exactly, Shy Collar. It's okay to say, I'm not okay, especially if people are saying and claiming that they are on your team. Would you say, I am Courtney? Sometimes you don't know what you need. It takes you being observant to figure out their need. Exactly. You can't just ask them. This is one thing I had to learn. You can't just ask your person, what do you need me to do to help get you in a place where you okay? You just got to kind of watch how they move and listen to the underlying words that they say. You got to be able to interpret, read in between the lines type of thing, right? You have to be able to do that if you are tuned in with your person. That's going to develop patience. That's going to develop insight on how to move in accordance to how they're grieving. Because, again, with the grief, there's waves. Some days you at the highest of highs and they thinking about all the great times. And some days it's like, dang, I'm never going to see that, feel that, or experience that again. And that can take them to the lowest of low places. So you got to kind of watch how they move. If they're used to talking to their person on the phone, don't pick up the phone and be like, hey, how you doing? No, just pick up the phone and talk about something. Be at the grocery store and explain something that you see dented cans on the shelf, just to get them a chance to talk. Get them a chance to talk. You say, cry, let it out. Don't hold these feelings in. Yell, run. Those are all ways for him to get it out. Those are all ways for him to get it out, by letting people know, by crying out, to take a run, get yourself, you know what I mean? Like one of my partners, he running miles and miles and miles, and I know it's part of his grieving process. It's helping him, whether it's getting him in tune and talking to his person that he lost, or whether it's getting his mind on those miles on the road where you don't have to think about anything. We don't have to think about anything. You know, it's certain places you got to watch how people move. You know what I'm saying? You say, I'm never going to see that person I love so much. Hug, touch, holidays, never. It never makes it easy. Exactly. And around the times of the year when you got to remember people's angel dates. You know, remember people's birthdays. Remember, things and anniversaries that were significant to the person in which you're trying to support and reconnect with. Remember those things. Express those things. So I'm not just talking to Stuck Between Grief and Love. I'm talking to him and talking to his wife, as well, because these are things that can help you get an understanding of how you are in this space together and in your moments of being alone. Because when you're alone, your thoughts are everywhere. But then when you're in that space together, if you're wanting to get intimate, if you're wanting the things to be back more, in that realm, then that's another way to escape mentally. Because if you thinking intimately, I'm pretty sure you're not thinking about your person. I mean, let's keep it 100%. Let's keep it funky. I'm angels and devil's advocate. So if you really tune in to the intimacy of, now you at Mr. Stuck Between Grief and Love, now you've got to tune in to what your wife needs is in regards to this intimacy. What does she need to be in the mood? Because I'm sure if it's been a couple years where you've not been in the mood like that, then it's been a couple years since y'all done got down like that. Because everybody knows you can't really make love if your mind and your heart ain't into it. You can smash all day long. You can climax all day long. But your intimacy and love making ain't really there if your mind and your heart ain't in it. Feels better, feels different. So now y'all got to come to an understanding of what y'all got going on in regards to how to get things back a little bit more lovey-dovey, intimate, touchy-feely, physical, as you said in your letter. How y'all were physical before, and now y'all not as physical. So if that means sometimes while she at the sink or something, go by and rub her booty. What'd you say, Chastity? I appreciate you. I mean? Sometimes you got to go by and rub her booty or even just, pull her hair off her shoulders. Smell her. Things that let her know that you are in her bubble for a reason, because you want to share it in that way. Intent means a lot, man. Intent. Think about how you able to kind of dive straight into that and really let her know how you're feeling, because it's just you and her. It's times when y'all intimacy, y'all should be sparked up, but y'all alone together and don't know how to process, how to feel in this moment. It's understandable. We all grieve differently. We all have waves that hit us at different times when we're missing or without someone. So if you want those intimate moments back, Mr. Stuck Between Grief and Love, you got to find a way where it's an open door coming from her. If that makes sense. I want to say I feel you, losing a parent. I lost my dad. It was a long time. It was 40 years ago, actually. 40 years ago, I lost my dad. So I wasn't really intimate in things of that nature at that time. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm in a relationship where I've lost an in-law. So, I feel you. It's things can change. Your whole world changes for the both of you, for everybody else involved. What do you say? This came across your timeline for it did, cousin. Love Trail, it did, cousin. It came across your timeline for a reason, cousin, because it's a reason why we talking about this today. Because it's a people, if the heart's all over the world tonight, it's people out there that really want to get in touch with the intimate side of their relationships again, and it's hard when you lose somebody. especially when there's such a large part of you. You said your dad was your everything, you know? And it's taking a toll on you and your wife, and you know, as close as and loving as y'all relationship was, and as emotionally as physical as it was, you ever since you lost your dad, you've been lost in your head, is what you said in your letter. So I understand the thought process behind where you are at the moment, but that came from me being observant in a time where intimacy became something that was on the back burner based off of grief. Because again, regardless of how long people have been gone, it was right on. It was Courtney. That same thing my cousin Trail said on the other side. It was right on time. It came right on time. Like, you know, the thing about it is, like, you know, you got to observe how these people are moving within their new reality. They're not the same. That's the first thing we got to recognize. They are not the same person. You are not Mr. Stuck Between Grief and Love. You're not the same person you were before your dad passed, sir. You're not. No matter how much we want to go back, no matter how much you want to go back to being that person includes the one you lost. And that's not possible. So now you have to, you yourself, sir, that is grieving the loss of your father, you're learning your new reality. Courtney, you said this right as I'm saying it. You know, now, you are now fatherless. You no longer have a dad now. So that person of being a person that had a dad and you leaned on him the way that you did and your relationship was what it was, no longer exists. Or somebody out there may have lost a mom, and the way you were with your mom was something completely different than anybody could fathom. So now you trying to understand it without that person is unfathomable to you, because you yourself are learning who you are in this space. You are a new you. Just like when you become a parent, you're a new beginning. Not only is your child newly born, you are newly born. You're a new parent. I don't care if it's your first, second, third, fourth, or fifth, because now you have to move accordingly no matter how many of them you got. Would you say you have to learn to adapt to your new exactly, Love Trail. You have to learn to adapt to a new normal. And what is that? What does that mean? What does that new normal consist of? That's the question we all have to ask ourselves when we're on the outside looking in. What does that new normal consist of for the person that lost this person? Because together, yes, collectively, y'all lost the person. Yes, you lost your father and your wife lost her father in love, you know? But again, like, you know how we always say things hit different when they hit different. You know what I mean? Things hit different when they hit different. So that's how you got to look at it, as if, you know, this isn't just me dealing with this as me being the person who lost somebody. Now, what's up, McFadden Amber? Now this is the other person who I'm, you know, here with, who I want to be intimate with. It's them dealing with that now. It's them saying like, oh, wow, now I got to figure out how to move with this person in this new space. How do I move in this new space? What does this new space consist of? What do the walls look like? Would you say, I am Courtney, so let's be honest. Sometimes the grief is so much, do you have the energy to give to your spouse? Hell, personally, I barely have time to give it to myself or my kids than I have to love my spouse too. And that's completely understandable because, again, in that, all that encompassed, especially when you got children involved, now you have to not only grieve for yourself, now you're being grieving, and as a parent you're being a protector and a provider of coverage for your children. So now some of your grief can't even be your grief because you got to cover the grief of those who are under you, who you're responsible for taking care of. So now you got less and less and less and less to give to the person who's your rock, who's your side, who as a spouse, you expect them to help build you, but if y'all not communicating these things and letting it be known to the other person where you are mentally, or they're not investing the time or the attention into you to find out what it is you need without asking you, what do you need? Because you yourself have no clue what you need, then that's where the disconnect comes in. Everybody has to understand that all the roles have changed. When Tom Brady retired from whatever team he was on, the roles of that championship team changed. Out of nowhere. Sometimes you get to prepare for it. Sometimes you don't. That plays a factor. How about that? And not to say one is worse than the other. The thing about it is sometimes it's worse having the time to prep for it. Because you know it's coming. And now you like, dang, is it today? Is it today? Is it today? And then sometimes it's even worse when it just happens out of nowhere. Like, damn, I had no idea that was coming. Blindsided. Bow. Chin checked. Out of nowhere. So you got to take into account all the factors that go into this whole scenario. You understand? Like, you can't, you as the griever and the spouse as the grieving spouse, have to go into this communicating for one. You have to be able to talk to each other. What'd you say, Royal Nelson? I spent years grieving the loss of both my parents. It wasn't until I learned to be grateful for the time that I had with them that I tell my kids, grown, don't waste time being angry when I die. Carry on knowing that we've already discussed my death as a part of the cycle of life. And that's a whole nother factor as well. Did you get a chance to prep? Did you get a chance to talk to your youngin'? Because sometimes as the parent, if you know you about to go out, that's stressing you out too, because you know the weight that it's putting on your kids. Then you got to add other mitigating factors. Are there siblings to the person that's grieving? Is it functions and things that ain't rocking right within the family? Funerals and weddings bring out the best and the worst of people. So think about all of this. Stuck between grief and love. Do you have siblings and things? Did things go properly with the passing of your father? And then talk to your wife about like how do you let's talk about like where are we right now opposed to where we were before dad died? You know what I mean? Talk to her about that. Ask her that exact question. Be like, yes, my love, I know that my father's the one that passed, is what you would say to her, and be like, where are we now as a couple? Where are you as an individual? Because I want to let you know where I am as an individual too. So that's the way you got to kind of look at it. Like, because now you not just where y'all are together, she's a different person individually now. Because now this grief has been on her for 2 years as well, just like it's been on you, but just in your own respective ways. And if you say the intimacy has dissipated, then she's felt it just as much as you're feeling it. If you took out the time to write me, then she's felt it. She's felt you know what I mean? The cold beds or the cold sleepless nights or whatever it may be. She's felt it. So now let's talk about where y'all are as individuals on the other side of the loss of life. That's a whole different conversation. That's a whole different perspective to take when you're talking to somebody about where to go. Would you say, Dakari Kofi, grieve and reflect? As stated by other listeners, let everyone know you're not okay. With that being said, you gotta pick yourself up and continue being the husband and the head of your marriage. And then would you say, Royal Nelson, transparency is a hard conversation? Yeah, transparency and hard conversations. This is it. You have to be able to bring it to the table if you're gonna be able to break them. Excuse me. If you're going to break it down, you got to be able to bring it to the table first. Can't discuss what people don't know is there. Houseway, So something that you said in your letter between grief and love, you said that it hit me. It said, I don't know how to be fully present. See, that's kind of going back on what we were just saying. You don't know how to be fully present in the moment. That's the heart of it. Now that we've done the things we talked about, you've discussed it with your spouse. You've considered the things that the changes in your life and the changes in her life now on the other side of this loss of life. That's the heart of it all. Grief can pull you in so deep sometimes that it's hard to come up for air, and it's hard to connect with the people that are around you, especially the people that you love. Because those are the people that you're expecting to be your oxygen. But if they're not tapped into watching what you need, and you're not speaking on what you need, then nobody knows what you need, especially you, especially them. So everybody's in the blind. So, it can pull you so deep down in the abyss that you can't really come up for any air to explain yourself. So I would implore you to tell your wife to watch this broadcast if she's not on here already. Because it can help to get an understanding of being able to watch you like from afar. Like if you ever, like anybody who's ever played any sports or anybody who's ever been observant in any way, shape, form, or fashion, when you're looking straight ahead and you tunnel vision, you miss out on a whole lot of other options and different ways in which you can kind of maneuver through. As an example, if you're at the park, you walking through the park, right? Yeah, it's trees everywhere. It's bushes everywhere. If you focus straight ahead, all you're going to see is be able to go through the trees that's right in front of you. Walk through the bushes that's right in front of you. That's the same thing with grief. If you just look at grief like, oh, I'm in it, instead of looking at grief as if, man, this affected me. It's affected everybody around me, and I am different now. And I have to accept, or not even accept, I have to adjust to my new normal. Or find out what that consists of. So that way you're looking around like, what options do I have? If I'm looking at this like I'm looking through a park, trying to find my lost dog, where could the dog be? If I'm looking straight ahead, I'm only going to see the trees ahead of me. But if I'm looking like this, I may see him jumping over here playing with some kids. You have to be able to look at it from a wide panoramic perspective. Because grief is not just one thing. It's not a singular focus. It's panoramic. It's a lot that goes into it. It's a lot. Yeah, you can focus in on parts of it at a certain time to get clarity as you're looking around that whole panoramic view from, looking left to right, right to left. Sometimes you even turn around in a circle. And you can focus on any part you want to focus on, but you have to be willing to see it as a whole. Because you got to go in the full 360. Not just me, the full 360, because that's what grief is. It encompasses everything about you now. It's fully wrapped around you now in regards to how you feel moving forward. Because there's a difference between missing somebody and grieving. Did you hear that? I'll say it again. It's a difference between missing somebody and grieving them. Because when you miss them, yeah, we can all, you got some people, damn, I miss my homie. Damn, I miss my dog. You know what I mean? But when you're grieving somebody, you feeling that person's absence. The lack of their presence is weighing upon you when you're grieving in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You can miss somebody and grieve them at the same time. But it's a difference between missing somebody and grieving them. Understand where you are in the moment. Because there's going to be times where you just miss them. Because you're thinking about them like, damn, that'd have been cool. That'd have been cool if I could have called blankety blank and told him about this. I wonder what such and such would have said. And that's the parts when you're missing them. But then when you're grieving them in that moment, if that were to flip on the other side of the coin, it's like, damn, I hate the fact it kills me that they're not here to be here to witness this. I can't swallow this idea of this being a happy moment because they're not here to share it with me. It's a difference between grieving and missing somebody. So, if you're in that deep part where you can't come up for air, I'm prayerful and hopeful that you got somebody there who's watching you. Your lifeguard of love, your lifeguard of your relationships are watching you, and they won't let you stay and sink and drown in your grief. That's what I'm hoping for anybody who may be going through it at any time. Because just because you lost somebody, like I just said before, I lost my dad 40 years ago. This September 1st made 40 years. And there's times when I miss him all the time. But it's times when I actually grieve my dad. Like, it's accomplishments I wish he was there to see. And he ain't been there since I was 7 years old. So grief never goes away. There's always waves of it that may hit you when you're feeling the absence of the person that's not there. But be okay with missing them at all times. They're that important to you. They're that part big of your life. So it's okay to miss people all you want. And understand the difference between the two. Don't feel like you have to feel down and out because you're missing someone. I want you to understand that as well, Mr. Stuck Between Grief and Love, because you can be missing your dad and still loving on your wife, but not to tell you when to make it happen. I'm not here to tell you when to make that happen. I cannot. I can't, because it happens different times, different places, at a different pace for everybody. So I would never sit here and tell anybody how to grieve. And again, I never tell people what to do. I'm just giving you options of what can be done. I'm hoping that some of these things may work for you. I'm hoping that some of the things that people spoke to you about, like Royal Nelson said that he prepared his kids for it and told them don't spend a whole lot of time being mad after he had a chance to reflect and learn how to live in grief. Like I Am Courtney says, she said that sometimes that she don't have enough to give to the other people. So I'm hoping that the people that understand that you may have a lifeline there for you to be able to pick you up when you don't have that. I'm hoping that for everybody who's grieving. Because in that moment, you're even less of yourself. You're not even your new self. In that moment, you're back to the person. You're stuck between the old you and the new you. In purgatory in your feelings. So they don't know which way to go. So I'm hoping that for everybody, It's not that you don't love your wife, and it's not that you're not attracted to her. It's just that your mind and your heart are in different places. That's what I want you to understand. It's not that you don't like your wife. Because you said you want to be able for her to feel like you're attracted to her again. And I don't think that it's that you're not attracted to her, because the way you speak of her in a way that you yearn to be that person for her, to be that person to her, for her to be that person for and to you. So the attraction is there. It's just your mind and your heart are in two different places currently. But being able to talk about them, being able to discuss them, being able to express them, like everybody on here said, like you got to be able to let people it's okay to let people know you're not okay. Would you say, Real Nelson? I don't care how strong or intelligent you are, when those waves of grief hit, they demand your attention. And you may have to cry, you may have to be still, but make sure that those around you know this. That's it. That's the transparency of it all. Because when that wave hits you, and if don't nobody know you under that wave, nobody knows you're drowning. Your lifeguards who are around you are not aware that you are in panic mode, that you are in SOS mode. Don't let those tsunamis creep up on you like that, because, without being able to yell out and say, hey, I'm not okay. I'm over here in this, I'm counting bubbles right now. I'm metaphorically counting bubbles right now. Can somebody come pull me up out of here, or somebody let me swim with them? What's up, Lucy Lowe? Somebody let me swim with them. I'm counting bubbles. So it's okay to let people know that you are in distress. But it's a two-way street, though. Remember I said before, yes, you got to be open and discussing and being able to yell out for help, but the people around you need to be tuned in enough to where they're watching you. They're lifeguarding you to know that you're under this wave of grief. And to dive in and save you, not asking you what can they do to help get you out the water. Be the lifeguard of grief and pull them to safety. Grab them, metaphorically put them on your back and swim them to safety. You know how to do that because they're currently drowning. So the person that's drowning in grief cannot tell you how to help them. They can't breathe. They can't talk. So you have to be observant and be a lifeguard. What'd you say, Will? This is a crazy topic. I lost my father and didn't have any intimacy issues. However, when I lost my mom, the grief and the pain I was suffering was totally different. I was unable to be intimate with my partner. My parts worked. I just didn't. That's what I'm saying. Because you were drowning Push that up so I can see the bottom of that. It says see more on there. Let me see that one time. That's it. That's the only word. Yeah, beautiful. It's just. There it is. There it is. Thank you. Put the big words on. You know how my blind bug can't. You know what I'm saying? Because you were drowning in a wave. You know, you say once you started therapy, she explained, imagine being in a hospital with an open wound. You're cut from the chest to the hip. Now try having sex. Grief is akin to a wound healing. You're fighting to heal. Exactly. You're fighting to survive. Your partner has to understand that. And that's the thing. Your partner has to be cognizant and has to be attentive to the fact that you are healing. And not expecting that, like you say, I like that analogy, like you got cut from the ribs to the hip. And you healing from that big old cut. That a Band-Aid not gonna do that. What'd you say? I thought I could deal with my father's death easier than having already lost my mom. Both were paralyzing at times. And that's the thing. Different waves gonna hit you differently. The relationship is certain smells gonna hit the air. Certain scents are gonna be in the air. Certain songs gonna be on the radio. Certain movies are gonna come on television, and you're gonna be like, damn. You know, you may miss them, you may grieve them in that moment. But the person that you were with, your lifeguard of love, needs to be cognizant and attentive to the fact that there are going to be times when that wave hits you. It's not scheduled, and it's not going to be a certain time when that wave is going to go away. You don't know when the flood is going to dissipate. You have no idea. So they just have to be there to watch you and move accordingly. Would you say, and if they haven't lost a parent, they won't know that hurt? Hell no, they ain't going to know that hurt. If they haven't lost somebody of that magnitude to you in their life, they're not going to understand what you're going through. So this is a point where you have to be transparent and let them know, like, hey, I lost my blank, my mom. I lost my dad. Like, this is where I'm at right now. I'm broken. I'm shattered. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you when you ask me, what can I do? It would be greatly helpful if you can just be attentive and watch me, how I move, and fill in the blanks like I know we've been able to do time and time again, because that's how we got to be each other's spouse. We filled in the blanks, not just filled in the line on the marriage certificate. You got to know how to fill in your person's blanks. This puzzle of life, when somebody gone, it's a piece missing. They can't tell you where to get it from. You got to scavenge and find a way to cover that hole. As a partner, you have to, what's up, Cali Twin? As a partner of somebody who lost or somebody who's grieving, you have to be able to find what their holes are, where their missing pieces are, and you have to find a way to be the coverage. No doubt, Roy. He said you doing a service today. Bless the people, Einstein. You know, it's reality, man. It's reality. You know, you have to pay attention. You know, you say let God fill in the blanks. But that's it. You moving, doing God's work, filling in those blanks for that person because they're there in your presence. Not saying you're gonna fix it for them. Not saying that you're going to stop them from grieving by doing the things that you're doing, but you're helping them from drowning. That's what I mean by filling those blanks, just in case I wasn't clear. There's no way you can help somebody and stop them from grieving. It's impossible. Absolutely impossible. Only way you can stop somebody from grieving is kill them. You know what I mean? So, or unalive them. Let's use the correct terms we can use on air. You know, so like the thing about it is, to fill in the blanks on somebody that's grieving, you have to be able to lift them up out of that water where they at least let them be buoyant enough to hold their head above water. Good Time said, keeping your head above water, you know, making a way when you can. You got to get them to the good times. What's going on, Dominique Moore? Peace and blessings to you, fam. You know, so when somebody's grieving, you're also grieving when they're grieving, if they're your person. But in those moments of grief, you have to be the person that is at least communicative enough to express to them that you're there. that they're not in it by themselves. They're not drowning alone. Don't just say, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Like love and like understanding, those are things that are felt. They're not things that you can just hear. You can't just say, I'm here for you. I can't just hear that you're here for me. I have to feel it. They have to feel it. Your presence has to be felt. Just, hey, if you don't want to go through that wave with them, then you're not meant to be with them. You're not meant to be with them, because if you abandon ship on them, especially if you've never been in this moment of grief, if you've never been hit by one of these waves, if you abandon ship on them now, man, karma is going to get you. Just letting you know. So if you need to abandon ship, if it's too much on you, you know, at least talk them into some help. Get them to where they can be not out there by themselves, and then move on. And if you're grieving and you're in those moments of grief, don't be afraid to say, I'm in one right now. Shed a tear. Walk in the freezer, in the back room, and scream in the freezer. Do whatever you need to do to express the fact that you're in one of those moments, so that you won't be, leaving a blank to be filled in that has a question mark on it. Because nobody knows that blank even exists. It's like a mystery spot. Oh, is that filled in? I don't know. Is it? Nah. It's empty. But nobody knows, because you're not waving your hands out there in the water like, hey, I'm drowning. Somebody help me. Send me a lifeline. Somebody get me. Somebody who loves me. One of my lifeguards of love. Come save me somehow. Come help me at least. Come let me not be by myself. Even in Titanic, yeah, Jack died, but, he didn't do it by himself. I still say he could have got up there on there with Rose, but nevertheless, I digress. At least he ain't do it by himself. Let people know that you are there. Let them feel your presence in the place of their absences. Let them know you're at least paying attention, that they are experiencing something. Because to be out there and be alone, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a guru, like this just popped in my head. No, I learned this going through life. By missing the shot, or not even taking the shot to try to be there in this capacity. I'm just thankful that the Creator put me in positions to where people would express what they may need from me, or I may be attentive to see what I'm missing or what they're missing out on, and I filled in a blank somewhere, or at least let them know that I was there. So that's how you navigate your way back to the intimacy, because that's what we want to make sure we don't get completely off, what you're asking me as well, Mr. Stuck Between Grief and Love. How do you get back to the intimacy? Let's recap it by first allowing your wife to know, like, hey, I'm in a spot where it's a wave and I may be drowning. And I may not know how to tell you that. Let me tell you how to get me out of this. But you just being there, to me not being alone in this, you being attentive, would go a long way into helping me not drown and suffer completely. So you got to be communicative about it. Got to be open, be transparent. Like Royal Nelson said, those transparent and hard conversations need to be had, because this is something, because, being unalive is final. It's final. So it's not like, back to one, like you shooting a movie, or it's not a video game where you get reset and be back to the start again. Nah, it's final. So it's going to be moments. What's going on, Till? It's going to be moments where it's going to resurface. It's going to rear its head. Grief is going to rear its ugly head sometimes. And if you in it, then you in it. So you got to be in it with them, for them, in lieu of them at times. Because it's going to be sometimes where your wife is going to be grieving on her own. And she may or may not want to bring you into that. But if you communicate with her and let her know that it's going to be times where you completely lost in the sauce, then maybe she'll be more cognizant to say, like, hey, I'm kind of suffering today. Like, can it be okay for me to talk to you about it as well? And in that grief, in those moments, then that's when you get a chance to kind of get on board with one another. What'd you say, Royal Nelson? The OJ said, me and my woman, we cried together and then we made love. See, that's it. Refer back to the old music. The old music used to tell all the stories. He said it, the OJs. The OJ said, me and my woman, we cried together and then we made love. Remember Boys in the Hood? Think about that. Think about that. Trey came in grieving, talking about Ricky, talking about how he was mad at the police. He got the swinging on the air. There's a ghetto bird in the background outside. Trey cried it out. Next thing you know, him and Brandy in there getting it on. You can get the intimacy back through being open. What's up, hula dula? You can get the intimacy back in your relationship, being open about the effect that your grief is taking on you and the toll it's taking on your intimacy. Salute to you too, Chico. Because again, this is a permanent thing. It's not like it's not like your dad is coming back to where be like, okay, ooh, man, Dad, when you was gone, me and the missus, we were having some issues. No, he's not. And these are the hard, transparent conversations that need to be had about understanding and finding what that new you, what your new normal is on the other side of this loss of life. You know? Because once you start rebuilding that emotional closeness, like by talking, by leaning on each other, by, processing some of that grief together. Once you start doing all those things, that's when it's going to start to circle back around to where y'all together. What's up, Critty? Would you say Punch Air? It was Nia Long and Boys. Exactly, that's what I said. Her name was Brandy on the movie, though. It was Brandy and Trey. It was Brandy and Trey. Maybe you got the punch in there. I was so sick of this, man. And next thing you know, just me and you. That was on the soundtrack. Soundtrack went like that, But being open, talking about these things, lean on each other, process the grief together. I think you'll see the physical intimacy come back naturally. When you see it come back naturally, that's when it feels better. That's when things start to happen organically. You're not forcing it, But the one thing that I want all this to kind of add up to is still have patience with yourself, man. Don't rush yourself. You say you've been there. Exactly. When you lose somebody you love like that, it's hard to be intimate. So be patient with yourself. Don't rush yourself into anything. Your wife sounds like she's still in it with you, man. So take that as a sign that y'all have a strong bond, one that's worth fighting for, and to sum it up, keep talking to your wife, let her in on how you feeling. Let her know what you're thinking. Let her, understand where you're coming from. Like I said before, seek some therapy. Talk to somebody with an objective perspective who's not in it, who you don't think is in it for anything for themselves, It could be a game changer seeking the therapy to deal with this and to talk about the intimacy in it. Don't just talk about your grief. Talk about what the grief is doing to you as a whole. And be kind to yourself, man. You'll figure this out. What's up, JT? Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself, man. Don't make yourself feel like you have to make a decision or you have to make a change, that you have to get back to being intimate with your wife. No, work on it. Work on it. You did? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. You're still grieving, but that doesn't mean you can't love your wife and rebuild that connection. It's going to take some time from both sides, right? But, that's it for today, y'all. To Mr. Stuck Between Love and Grief. I hope we answered your questions. And I say we, I like to say all the people that's out here, all my online constituents out there, I know, Critty, when Brian passed, I know that messed you up, yo. That messed you up. I know. You say, what's up, bro? I love you and share your wise experience with the masses. Exactly. But anytime y'all got a question, whether it be about love, life, grief, anything, ask me some. Hit me with some puffy questions if you got them. Shoot me an email at hollaatthehomie@gmail.com. That's ATTHAHOMIE@gmail.com. Or you can always hit us up, call us up at hot7025fm.com or 702-551-5261. Until next time, be nice to yourselves and be good to each other. I'm 360 the Poet. I'm going to holler at y'all in a minute.
Hi. Hey. What's up?
All your favorite artists
Check it out.
Say my name.
DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
on hot7025fm.com.